So today we will start with cloud computing. This is the first class of cloud computing. Let us start with that. It is a new subject. You will find in your syllabus that the first lecture or the first topic is Introduction to Cloud Computing. What is cloud computing? Course objective. These are the course objectives: cloud computing fundamentals, architectures, services, implementation and deployment techniques, programming concept, security and risk management, research trend. These are the different course objectives. What are the different course outcomes? Compare the strengths and limitations of cloud computing. Identify the architecture, infrastructure, and delivery models of cloud computing. Apply suitable virtualization concept. Choose the appropriate programming concept. Understand risk involvement. Able to find. বলো
ম্যাম আপনি কি পিপিটি ভিউ করতে দিয়েছেন আমাদের?
কি করতে দিয়েছি পিপিটি?
ম্যাম পিপিটি থাকবে আমাদের ভিউতে নাকি জাস্ট আপনি বলছেন সেটা?
পিপিটি থাকবে ভিউতে। পিপিটি আসছে না?
না পিপিটি আসছে না।
আচ্ছা দাঁড়াও, স্টপ শেয়ার করছি আমি, করে আবার থেকে শেয়ার করছি। Yes, you need to view the PPT. Else it will not. দেখা যাচ্ছে কি পিপিটি? না এবার দেখতে পাচ্ছি তো, আগে দেখতে পাচ্ছি না। Course outcomes: apply suitable virtualization concept, choose the appropriate programming approach, understand risk involvement, able to find current research areas. Cloud computing. Now let us start with basic definition of cloud computing. What is the basic definition of cloud computing? Cloud computing is the delivery of computing services such as servers, storage, databases, networking, software, analytics, intelligence, and more over the cloud. So this is the basic definition of cloud computing. আচ্ছা এবার একটু তোমাদের জিজ্ঞেস করি, does anybody have any idea of cloud computing? Anyone who have heard about cloud computing? কোনো আইডিয়া আছে? একটু বলো কি cloud computing মানে কি বোঝো তোমরা? What do you mean by cloud computing? Anybody have heard or they have any idea about cloud computing?
Whenever we talk about cloud computing, the first thing comes to our mind is the Google facilities which we are using, like Drive or for Microsoft OneDrive.
These are some
virtual storage. Virtual storage.
Yes, Saurabh na?
Yes, ma'am.
অনেক দিন পর তোমার আবার শুনতে পেলাম, ভালো লাগলো শুনে। This is the basic definition of cloud computing. যেগুলো virtual storage is one of the advantages, you can say. But cloud computing is the on-demand availability of computer system resources, especially data storage or cloud storage and computing power without direct active management by the user. The term is generally used to describe data centers available to many users over the internet. Large clouds require huge amount of data. Their functions are also distributed over multiple locations from central server. You can find in this diagram also there is infrastructure, applications, storage. Storage means the storage is in clouds. Now, it must also kept in mind that clouds may be limited to a single organization, which are called enterprise clouds, or be available to many organizations, which are called public cloud. Cloud computing relies on sharing of resources to achieve coherence and economics of scale. That means it is cost effective also. Cloud computing is cost effective also. Now, cloud provides, actually the infrastructure of cloud is, it provides pay as you go model. Pay as you go model means the data which the user is using, only for that data the user is paid. It is not, he is not paying for all the data. He is actually using, or he is paying the data that he is using. That is one of the basic feature of cloud pricing model. We can refer them technically as cloud pricing model. The availability of high capacity networks, low cost computers, storage device, as well as the widespread adoption of hardware virtualization. We will study virtualization in other classes also, but hardware virtualization, we can say that virtually you are using the hardware. It is not there with any user. Or service-oriented architecture and autonomic and utility computing. Now, what is autonomic? What is utility computing? I will request all of you to please study a little bit those terms. Utility computing. Actually, utility computing and autonomic computing had led to the growth of cloud computing. This is the feature of cloud computing. Do you know which company popularized the concept of cloud computing? Does anybody have any idea? Hello? Does anyone have any idea which company popularized the concept of cloud computing? Wait, someone is saying something. Amazon. Yes, Deepali, you are right. Amazon popularized the concept of cloud computing. And what was the name of its product? Famous product.
AWS.
AWS तो ठीक আছে. Elastic Compute Cloud बोला हो तो product था when it was launched in the year 2006. तখন मैंने cloud computing is a concept which is not very old. It is comparatively a new concept. देखो Elastic Compute Cloud, you search for that, it will show you that suggestions. So the cloud symbol was used to represent networks of computing equipment. It was originally actually somewhere the concept originated from ARPANET, but that symbol was only there. They don't use that feature also. The term cloud was used to refer to platform for distributed computing. Earlier, that term was used to refer to distributed computing. So let us learn, cloud computing provides an alternative to the on-premise data center. With an on-premise data center, we have to manage everything such as purchasing and installing hardware, virtualization, you will study all these things in detail, any other required applications, setting up the network, configuring the firewall, setting up storage for data. After doing all the setup, we became responsible for maintaining it through its entire life cycle. You have learned about software development life cycle. Similarly, cloud computing is also having its life cycle also. These are different stages of cloud computing, and the maintenance of cloud, it remains, this phase remains active throughout the entire life cycle. Some of the features of cloud computing are agility for organizations may be improved. What is agility? As cloud computing may increase users' flexibility. It makes the user flexible with reprovisioning, adding or expanding technological infrastructural resources. It adds flexibility to these resources. Cost reductions are one of its characteristics. Actually, maybe in some another classes you will learn there are different type of clouds which you have heard. A public cloud, private cloud. These are different types of cloud which you will learn. So, cloud reductions as claimed by cloud providers. A public cloud delivery model converts capital expenditures to operational expenditure. There is a change in the pattern of expenditure which led to cost reductions. Also, device and location independence. It enables users to access systems using a web browser regardless of their location or what device they use. It gives the freedom. It is not device dependent or something like that. It gives the freedom of independence of the devices. That is one of the main feature which distinguishes one cloud. Anybody wants to ask something? Does anybody want to ask something? Okay, so I am continuing. So that is called device and location independence. As infrastructure is off-site. Off-site means typically it is provided by a third party and accessed via the internet. Users can connect to it from anywhere. Now, maintenance of cloud computing applications is easier. Why maintenance is easier? Because they don't need to be installed on each user's computer and can be accessed from different places. Example, different work locations while traveling. Multi-tenancy. Multi-tenancy is a new term for you all. Multi-tenancy is the feature. What is multi-tenancy? It enables sharing of resources and costs across a large pool of users. So what is the advantage of having a large pool of users? Centralization of infrastructures in location with lower cost. peak load capacity increases. What is peak load capacity increases? Users doesn't need to be an engineer and pay for the resources and equipment to meet their highest possible load level. The users can be anyone. Utilization and efficiency improvement for systems that are often only 10 to 20% utilized. Maybe there are different devices which are connected to a network or cloud, not network, they are connected to a cloud, but all the usage of all the devices are not same. Some of the devices are being used or being excessively used. Some devices, they remain underutilized. So cloud computing enables or it improves the efficiency of utilization, and the performance is monitored by IT experts from the service provider, and consistent and loosely coupled infrastructure architectures are constructed using web services as the system interface. Productivity may be increased when multiple users can work on same data. When there are several users which are working on the same set of data, we can say that the productivity is being improved. Time may be saved. How it saves times? As information does not need to be re-entered when fields are matched, nor do users need to install application software upgrades to their computer. So this, when you don't need to install different, why you don't need to install different software upgrades? Because you are using services from cloud. So the productivity, we can say that the productivity has increased. Availability improves with the use of multiple redundant sites, which makes well-designed cloud computing suitable for business continuity and disaster recovery. Disaster recovery and business continuity. Disaster recovery I have discussed in earlier class also, in mobile computing class also. There are multiple redundant sites where data can be stored, which makes the data more secure in any disaster. We can retrieve the data also. Scalability and elasticity, it is also one of the features, notable features. Via we can say that on demand, it is on demand provisioning of resources. Provisioning of resources means when there is a demand, then the increase in resource, there are resources which are present, and there is an increase in resources which enables the user to work efficiently. Now we will go to next slide. Wait. Slide is not changing. In cloud computing, a cloud, okay, I am stopping for a few minutes. You go through this slide, then I will read and I will explain. If there is any confusion, then you will ask. Since I am speaking continuously, I am not giving you the chance to speak. So please go through it, what is written. So no one is saying anything. So let me explain. In cloud computing, a cloud vendor is responsible for the hardware purchase and maintenance. Cloud vendor is responsible for hardware purchase and maintenance. It is not the responsibility of user. They also provide a wide variety of software and platform as service. Later you will learn about IaaS, PaaS. You will learn about that. There are different types of services which are available. So we can take any required services on rent. The cloud computing services will be charged based on the usage. What you can look at the diagram, cloud computing, then there is blocks. These all comes under infrastructure. Block storage, network, there is a support for network, database, and finance, communication, collaboration, content, monitoring, object storage, compute. Also, runtime platform. There is a queue also when the services, I hope in operating system you have learned about the queue and the scheduling techniques. So there is a queue also for services. These are the different devices which are connected: phones, laptops, server, desktop, tablets. So we can say that cloud computing is the use of hardware and software to deliver a service over a network. An example of a cloud computing provider is Google's Gmail. All of you are aware that Gmail is a cloud, or Gmail works on a cloud computing platform. All of you are aware. Like Gmail users, they can access files and applications hosted by Google via the internet from any device. Yeah, we can access it. Like when I am accessing Google Drive, Google Photos, these are all clouds, Google clouds. In your mobile, if you sync it with Google Photos, it automatically gets all your photographs automatically get saved to Google Photos, and you need not delete those, and you need not keep those photographs or those images in your device. You can delete them and they will remain safe and secure. So we can say that the cloud computing is delivery of on-demand computing. It is, that concept is very important, from applications to storage and processing power, typically over the internet and on a pay-as-you-go basis. Now, rather than owning their own computing infrastructure or data contents, companies can rent access to anything from applications to storage from a cloud service provider. Everyone, please remain muted. Some voice is coming. One benefit, we can say one benefit of using cloud computing services is that firms can avoid the upfront cost and complexity of owning and maintaining their own IT infrastructure. And instead, simply we are paying for what we are using. In turn, providers of cloud computing services can benefit from significant economics of scale by delivering the same services to a wide range of customers. Now we can say what cloud computing services are available. cloud computing services cover over a vast range of options, from basics of storage, networking, and processing power through the natural language processing and artificial intelligence, as well as standard office applications. These are the different cloud computing services that are available. Now we come to history of cloud computing. The evolution of cloud computing took a number of years in different phases. The concept of a global network emerged in the year 1960s. The idea was that everyone be interconnected and would be able to use data and programs from any site located anywhere on the globe. The user remains unaware that where that service, that data, or the program is getting stored, or from where he is retrieving the data. He remains unaware about that. Though the concept was already available, the internet in a good bandwidth was available only by the 1990s. I suppose everyone, at least your generation, you must remember that earlier days internet was not that easily available and those services were not that good. Now, another key factor which contributed to the quick evolution of cloud computing was the emergence of virtualization technologies. What is virtualization technology? That we will learn soon, maybe in next class. Some important milestones in the evolutions of cloud computing were Salesforce.com, which offered their services on the SaaS platform, SaaS. What is SaaS? Software as Service. You will read about SaaS in one of your upcoming classes. The Amazon suite of cloud-based services and Elastic Compute Cloud. All of you, please learn or please search for Elastic Compute Cloud. You will find a lot of information. And arrival of Web 2.0. A fundamental concept behind cloud computing is that the location of the service and many of the details, such as hardware or operating system on which it is running, are largely irrelevant to the user. It is with this in mind that we can say that the cloud was borrowed from old telecom networks. Earlier, it was through public telephone networks, which was represented as cloud. I hope everyone remembers that earlier net availability was done with the help of BSNL, with the help of telephone lines only. Are you all aware?
Landline connections were required then for the
landline connection. That means it means wired connection, isn't it?
connection. Yes,
Wired connections were required. Huge amount of cabling was required. So it was called, sometime they refer to is a cloud also, but that is not the exact concept of cloud. Okay. Main characteristics of cloud computing: on-demand self-service. Service of the cloud computing is available round the clock and provides computing capabilities on demand of the user automatically. Broad network access. Users can access the services via different modes as the heterogeneous, thin and thick client platforms. Resource pooling. The feature of multi-tenancy where users are assigned resources dynamically based on the demand. Resource pooling means there is a pool of resources which a user can use. They can be on a different device also, maybe on someone else's device, and the user is using it without knowing the source from where he is using. Stop annotation. Who is annotating? Rituparna, stop annotating. If someone wants to leave the class, they can go. It is not necessary for everyone to attend the class. Rapid elasticity. The service is flexible and can be scaled up or down to suit the business requirement. Resources and programs can be based on requirement, and the user is built on the usage. So the user builds on the usage. Measured services. Usage metering is available and you pay for only what you use. Measured services. Usage metering is available and we pay for what is used. That means only the services that we are using, we are paying for only those services. You need not pay for any infrastructure that you don't use. Earlier, just remember when there was an internet connection which was taken through landline, what happened? That there were connection charges. Different connection charges were levied, although it can happen that the services were not even used. But with the emergence of cloud computing, we are paying for only the services we are using. So that is all about the concept of cloud computing, or the basic idea about cloud computing. Now the question arises, why the cloud is important? Why it is important? Building the infrastructure to support cloud computing now accounts for more than a third of, or 1/3 of all IT, which is in worldwide use. Information technologies 1/3 infrastructure is supported by cloud computing. We will learn about different types of services in cloud computing in maybe upcoming classes, like infrastructure as service, platforms as service, software as service. These are different type of services, and also virtualization. What are the benefits of cloud computing? The exact benefit will vary according to the type of cloud service being used. But fundamentally, using cloud services means companies not having to buy or maintain their own computing infrastructure. We are not buying any infrastructure, but we are enjoying the infrastructure. For commodity applications, what are commodity applications? Like email. Email is a commodity application. It can make sense to switch to a cloud provider rather than rely on in-house skills. A company that specializes in running and securing these services is likely to have better skill and more experienced staff than a small business could afford to hire. So cloud services may be able to deliver a more secure and efficient service to end users. Now, using cloud services means company can move faster on projects and test out concept without lengthy procurement or being using heavy cost, or without using heavily on cost term. That means the user is not spending much about the resources, or the companies are not making it is cost effective. In short, we can say that this concept of business agility is often mentioned by cloud users as a key benefit. This is called business agility. The ability to give new services. What is the ability to give new services? The ability to provide new services is one of the feature. IT procurement, or the traditional IT procurement, should mean that is easier to going with new applications faster. And if a new applications, or if some new application is running, it shows the elastic nature of cloud. Elastic nature of cloud. What does elastic nature of cloud means? Anyone? What is meant by elastic nature of cloud? Elastic nature of cloud means the cloud network can be scaled, or it can be expanded very fast. That is the elastic nature of cloud. Now, if we talk about different advantages and disadvantages of cloud computing, we can say that cloud computing is not necessarily cheaper than other forms of computing. Just as renting is not always cheaper than buying in the long term. If an application has a regular and predictable requirement for computing services, it may be more economical to provide that service in-house. Some companies, maybe there are some companies which are reluctant to host sensitive data in a service that is also used by rivals. I mean, there are different competitors of business which are using the same service. Moving to software as service application may also mean that if I am in a cloud, I am using the same application that my rival company is using, isn't it? Then there will be a competition and a shortage of cloud skill. Why a shortage of cloud skill? Because both the members are using the same application. So that is all for now. Maybe next class we will continue with some another topic. This is the first class of cloud computing, and also I will give you the assignment and questions link in WhatsApp. Rituparna, please close the meeting. I think the time is almost over. So you can stop recording.
Okay.